Warning, today's episode of Everything vs. Everything contains some strong language.
Everything versus everything. Fight!
Hello and welcome to Everything vs. Everything,
Acoustic
episode
version.
8.
Yay!
Welcome aboard the Everything vs. Everything Express. Choo choo, as they say
All
on the
aboard.
runaway mine train at Alton Towers every time they start it. We have only 2 people this time.
I know, it's a bit of a
Yeah.
ghost train in here. It's
We're in James and Laura's house and they've abandoned us.
Aye.
We're just sitting, looking out at the sunny day outside. wondering if this is going to work with only 2 people, because we've never done one like
But
this before.
first off, who are you?
Oh, sorry, yes. My name is Alex. You probably don't know me. I'm a person. Who are you, though?
Oh, I'm Euan. You may have heard me a few times, but I don't know about that. But yeah, we're the regulars, the old hands here.
Yeah, we are, I guess. Yeah, somehow that has happened. We're sort of the...
We're the Paul Hislop and... No, it's Ian Hislop and Paul Merton of
Yeah.
this.
Or I'm the Angus Deaton before he got fired for
From terrible
for
stuff.
sleeping with a prostitute.
Taking a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, back in the day. Oh well.
Anyway, yeah,
Yes.
so today we're only going to have like 2 things for each segment, which is weird because usually we have more. Yeah, we should get into it. I
Yeah, we
guess. We should start. Bring a thing!
Oh.
Bring a thing is where we each bring a thing. Yep.
Yes, we did.
And then we place it on our list of things, which is ordered from best to worst. Basically, the point of the podcast is we're trying to assemble that list in full until it has everything in the world on it. So we're just going to start with some things, one from each of us. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
Yeah, I can go first. Yeah,
Okay,
let's
go
do
on,
it. Let's
Euan.
do this thing. Okay, my thing today, because I brought the concept of reality last time, so this time I'm
Yeah,
going to...
that was a little bit heavy.
Bit heavy, so I'm going to go totally opposite direction, and the thing I'm going to bring is Furbies.
Okay.
Now, for those who don't know what Furbies are, they were kind of a toy back in the day, and I've actually done a bit of research on it for preparation for talking about this. They look kind of like half between a hamster and an owl, I'd say.
Yeah, that's a good
And-
description.
They came out in 1998. They were very popular when they came out. They were a big must-have gift. In fact, they sold over 40 million Furbies. There's over 40 million Furbies in the world, which is more than the population of Canada, if you think about it, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
So there's more Furbies than there are Canadians out there. Yeah, and I remember them because I had a few of them back when I was a kid, kind of thing. It was one of those like things that were like a big thing. Like at one point, yo-yos were a big thing, and Pogs and that, and Furbies were a big thing. And well, I think their main buying point was that they're kind of little toy robot-y things that talk to you.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you remember this, and I didn't until researching it, but when they originally came out of the packaging and you switched them on and all that, they didn't start speaking English straight away. They actually spoke their own language called Furbish. And then they'd actually, as you'd hang out with them and sort of talk to them, they'd slowly would start to speak some English phrases to you, or whatever language they came in.
Wow.
But yeah, I didn't remember that they actually spoke like their own
I didn't know that
made-up
either.
language, which is kind of weird and crazy.
I've
but
never had a Furby, so there's a lot that I don't know about them.
Oh.
And I'm slightly unsettled by them, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I hear all these stories where you've not like played with them at all for ages, and then at one point they'll just switch on and just start speaking.
I'm sure
and, like, you
Stuart
just...
said that one of his came to life in the middle of the night once. Which sounds terrifying. Like, to me, the most terrifying thing as a child, and still to some extent, is the idea of my toys coming to life.
But Toy Story.
Yeah, but like in a scary way. Like in
Yeah.
the middle of the night, they just start moving, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
the idea that these things like they were designed to do that is kind of scary.
I can understand there might be a creepiness to it, and the fact that like you bought more than one, which is I think was quite a smart selling point, is that they would actually speak to each other as well. Like they spoke via infrared, and you just like put them next to each other on a table, and one would like say hello, another one would say I love you, and that kind of stuff, and they just have a little chat, and that's kind of it. They mainly spoke, their eyes kind of like opened and shut, and they do a little thing where they'd like go up and down a little bit, so they could do a little dance as well and sing some songs. They were pretty harmless as toys.
I'm sure they were harmless.
There was also a Gizmo version of them from the Gremlins film.
Right.
There was a Yoda version, a Chewbacca version, and an E.T. version.
Okay.
They're called Furby Friends. So I guess they came from a similar place to where Furbies come from, kind of thing. Another thing was that there was a belief that they actually would pick up what people would say and like repeat it back to them. It was kind of like a myth kind of thing. But what was actually happening is that they said certain like phrases of that, and if you sort of stroked them or sort of played with them more or something, they'd repeat them more often. So that was actually a bit of a misconception. But because people thought that they were a recording device or would repeat things, that they were actually banned from several intelligence agencies. Like the NSA actually legally banned them from their offices, which is hilarious to think that maybe at one point an NSA agent would actually have Furbies on their desk.
I mean that shows the cultural reach of them, I guess. I mean, the NSA are people, I suppose.
You suppose, but you get an idea of like, I know, CIA agents being quite like men in black suits with sort of sunglasses, being quite shifty and quite sort of professional and that. And then they got a Furby next to them saying, just going, hello, how are you? That kind of stuff. I took a picture of some of the phrases they'd say, but how they would say them in Furbyish, and then what the translation would be.
Oh, wow.
So do you want to actually try, I'll say a few Furbish things to you, and then you could guess what they're saying. Okay. Weeta Kalulu.
Weeta Kalulu. I mean, is there any hint at all in
They're very basic things that something would say.
Kalulu. Is that like, pleased to meet you?
It's tell me a joke.
Oh, okay.
Uni lu le lu do.
Well, sorry, what was the last bit? I missed it.
Uni lu le do.
Is that... Can I use the toilet, please?
No, it's do you want to play?
Okay.
Alright, one more. Uni no la.
I'm going to kill you.
Close, show me a dance.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
slightly better.
But they had a little bit of a Furbish language. So when I'm looking at it here, some of the words that are supposed to, I guess, represent certain other words in English don't quite translate in other ways. So maybe have not put a lot of thought into Furbish.
Oh, that's upsetting. They could have got like the person that created Elvish for Lord of the Rings. Well, I guess Tolkien created it, but like I think Dothraki in Game of Thrones.
They have a Dothraki
They have like someone who
expert,
made like the language, like completely fleshed it out. They should have done that for Furbish.
They could have. They made bucket loads of money from them, so they could have afforded that. But oh well, there you go. Apparently, the Weinstein's brothers, they're famous kind of like film producers. They've bought the rights to making a Furby film. So
there's an emoji film, so Furby seems reasonable by comparison.
Yeah. I think that's all I can say about Furbies.
Wow.
I gave my best shot, and
well done.
There you go.
That was more than I could have said about Furbies, that's for sure. Am I thinking of a different thing? Because like I seem to remember there's something a bit like a Furby now, and it's probably like there's probably a new generation of Furby-like things now. But like, isn't there something that actually does connect to the internet and like
there
is actual genuine concern that it's recording people?
I think you're right. I think because there was two other versions. There was a version that was re-released of Furbies that was 2007 that was just more like emotive and that, and then there's a more recent one, 2012, that actually had an app come along with it that you'd be able to interact with it via the app. So,
yeah, I vaguely remember hearing about that, but that sounded all kinds of sinister. That probably, I mean, to be honest, like it's probably misguided to get too concerned about that when we literally carry devices with us everywhere that track us and can record sound.
Yeah,
like,
we don't have to worry about the
We
Furbies
don't have to worry
doing
about Furbies too much when we've got like phones on us.
Furbies are one of those things where like back in the 80s or 90s they'd make a film about them sort of like, I know, some weird hacker sort of like controlling them and then just going running amok in a mall or something. And it'd be all hilarity would ensue, but then at the end of the day, I know, maybe the one heroic Furby sacrifices themselves to save humanity. Yeah, and there'd be a dad trying to like fix his relationship with his son somewhere in there as well. I think we've got a movie plot. They just need to time travel back to the 80s now. It wouldn't work nowadays. Well, maybe pictures the Weinsteins, maybe they will. Maybe. There you go.
So
Furbies. Did you have anything to say about them? Sorry. Because
not really. Well, because I think they were maybe after my time, or maybe I just never...
Maybe a little bit. I remember having them probably when I was around 8, 9, 10, 11, something like that. They were weird because they were kind of like, they were toys that also a little bit of technology coming into it as well. And there was that whole kind of thing where they learn English with you kind of thing a little bit, which is, I guess, slightly educational or something.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. You could also write the fact is that you're kind of making them forget their cultural language and forcing
God.
yours onto
I haven't
them.
even thought of that.
But that's my own dark mind.
When you start dissecting like any sort of doll or toy, when you start thinking about like it as a sentient thing, it becomes all sorts of like
conundrums.
stuff. Like you're basically keeping a sentient thing as a slave for your own amusement, and then forgetting about it and leaving it in a box.
Yes.
Until like you eventually throw it out or give it to a charity shop. So yeah, there's not.
Fun.
Yeah, you don't want to get too far into analysing that stuff.
No, you don't.
Well, okay, what do you think about...
Where do Furbies go?
Where do Furbies go?
Where do Furbies go? I mean, they're fun little devices, but I don't think they're that. I've put in a lot of research into it, but I don't think there's too much... I mean, I'd say they're better than porridge myself.
Yeah, I mean, they're more interesting than porridge.
Again, they're not like that great, though. I wouldn't hold them up there as like, look at this!
Are they better than the Loch Ness Monster?
If there was a Loch Ness Furby monster, I'd like that. They're definitely not as good as George Foreman grills. I know that. That's what I know to be a fact. And I think grilled cheese sandwiches in the Eurovision Song Contest are definitely better. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm not sure because if it was Harry Potter that was up there, which I think at some point we should just bring Harry Potter. In fact, you know what? I think Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is better than Furbies, but still. But I just feel like we should have the whole of Harry Potter up there.
Yeah, maybe.
But
so Furby's better than porridge, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
For now.
Yeah, sure. I'll go along with that.
What did you bring, Alex?
I brought another thing that is slightly childish to talk about for an extended period of time.
Excellent.
Which is the colour blue. We haven't had a colour before.
Oh yeah, the colour blue.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I just thought it would be fun to think about all the different places that you find. This is turning into a children's TV show.
Yes, this has happened.
Let's think about all the different places you can find the colour blue.
All the adults have left and now it's just us.
Yeah. Talking about Furbies and blue.
God.
Ooh, look out the window right now. Can you see the colour blue? How many blue things
can you see?
Oh, there's the sky.
You can see one blue thing like the skies.
2 blue things like the sea. 3 blue things like some blueberries. And the 4th blue thing is a lovely, lovely thing, which is that blue thing up there, the frame of that thing that you can't see if you're listening to the podcast. It's blue, trust me on that. Yeah.
Wow.
Still haven't heard back from our audition for the Singing Kettle.
One day we'll get there.
The video that we made about them probably didn't help, to be fair.
No, we let down Paul C. I know that much, so...
Anyway, yeah, so blue things. It's a nice colour. I quite like it. It's not my favourite colour, probably. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that one day. But the world would be a duller place without it.
Without blue? Yeah. I think
it's one of the main ones.
Yeah.
It's one of the big boys of the colour world.
Yeah. Traditionally, for us, it's a colour that's more male, boys.
True,
stuff.
although
I mean,
that has been not the case in the past. It's
we're
very much
breaking
a
the mold.
cultural sort of...
Oh yeah, it's a recent cultural thing.
Yeah.
In the last 100 years, I'd say.
And there was a time when it was the reverse of what it is now, which was it's strange to think about, but it does show that it's not inherent to the colour, it's just a cultural association that's formed over time. Mm-hmm. With any colour, there's a lot of associations, and some of them are good, some of them are bad. For example, not to get ahead of ourselves, but it is the colour of the Conservative Party in the UK.
Well, that's
confusingly, it's also like the colour of the Democrats in America, so like...
Yeah.
That makes it confusing, because you're like, I'm used to red being the good guys and blue being the bad guys, and if you look at America, it's the opposite. I mean, not that the good guys are always like brilliant or anything, but in general they're... Anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of associations. Blue is sort of a refreshing colour because you associate it with water and sky and
exactly,
fresh air kind of thing. But in terms of food, it's so rare to get blue food.
Yeah, and there's only a very few things, very small list of things.
Yeah,
most
like
of the time you'd be
blueberries.
concerned if you saw things.
Yeah, like blue is like the colour of mould, and it's almost like a warning colour. I feel like there's almost like a instinctive reaction of repulsion if you see something blue
in your food.
Totally. Even if it's like blue icing on something that's like not just an artificial colour or something, it can be off-putting. It can be like, ooh.
Yeah, unless it is like a
response.
sort of a sweet or something like that kind of thing. Then it looks almost like like neon blue, kind of like, oh, this is cool, kind of thing. Like that's
There's something nice about that.
But it has to be almost like its own kind of block of it. Like it has to be totally blue. It can't just like be a speck of blue, or
a speck of blue is like, ooh, you're just like, ooh.
Yeah, blueberries or sweeties or like blue ice cream. I guess blueberry ice cream, maybe. So that would be the only things I could think of.
There's so few things, and there's not many things in nature as a whole that are blue. There's some birds that have blue in their feathers and stuff.
Yeah, it's weird
like,
that
you don't get blue fur on animals or blue hair naturally.
Not that I can really think of. It is it'd be a very rare animal if it was the case. It's
so it is, and you get blue flowers, but like in terms of how much it occurs in nature, I mean the sky has kind of got the
main blue.
That's sort of monopolised the colour a bit. It's gone like all that blue down there, I'm gonna have it. It's just taken all the blue things that would have been there, and it's gone like, blah, I'm gonna take them all up into me and dye myself even more blue. Like, I always forget why the sky's blue. I know there's a reason for it, and I've heard it so many times, and I still can never remember it. Sorry.
It's one of those things where just, I guess, the fact is like, well, the sky is blue, and that's at the end of the day. You're going to change it, kind of thing. So it's always going to be blue. So there you go. So it's not that interesting a fact to really.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, if you could say that about a lot of things, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Because the thing is that all colours, and we're going to be a bit more deeper into this, but it's a perception of our eyes. It's our brains sort of like.
Yeah, that's weird to think about.
That's mainly how they exist, kind of thing. And I just wonder if the fact is like we kind of perceive that spectrum colour of the sky and the water is very separate from like stuff that's more kind of in the ground, like plants.
Yeah, I mean, we've evolved to see the wavelengths of light that are useful for us. Basically, there are all sorts of kinds of radiation buzzing around the world. Light is one of them that happens to be useful for us, so we evolved to be able to see it. So colours aren't inherently the colour that we see them as. Our brain has just kind of gone... It's like made up a language for us to be able to understand the world. It's made up like a colour-based language. So it's really strange to think about that. But anyway, yeah, that's
the technical side of it.
Yeah, that's the technical side. Blue.
It's also perceived as like, say in cartoons, if someone goes blue, they're like very cold as well.
Yeah, that's true.
It's sort of an icy, cool colour kind of thing. Also, like certain characters which are more kind of like emotional and sort of fire, that stuff, they're like would maybe wear like a red top, while characters that are more kind of aloof and sort of controlling of their emotions when we have more sort of blue clothing. It's sort of it's an easy way of like portraying that. They'll do that in animation or anime, that kind of thing.
Although, if you see a blue flame, that's pretty hot.
Oh yeah, that is true. That's
weird
interesting.
that. You don't see that very often, but strange. I don't understand why that's like that, so let's just move on.
Aye, blue, it's a colour at the end of the day.
Yeah,
Doctor Who is very blue. There's a lot of the blue box.
Yeah, that's true. And blue is sort of a colour, like there was a trend for a while that was noted by people online about film posters or just the colour palette of films in general, which was, for a while they were all blue and orange.
Yeah, or like, orange is teal is the specific type of blue it was. But
so it was like, that would just be every scene was like some dark night scene where it was just orange and this particular shade of blue.
Well, I think it was to do with the fact that like our eyes kind of liked seeing like skin tones are usually lit up kind of orangey goldy colour, and the contrasting on the colour wheel is a sort of bluey teal colour, and there's something that our eyes like about having nice contrasting colours of the same thing. So in a sense, we kind of like our skin to look healthy in a sort of goldy colour, I guess, and for them to see this sort of in the shadows, like the sort of the blue sort of makes it more pop out, which is interesting in its own way. I learned a little bit of colour grading after doing video editing and that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, it was almost like overly done though.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's anything if it becomes that ubiquitous, like it becomes sort of a thing that people then react against, and they're like, yeah, let's not drill this thing into the ground completely.
Smurfs are blue. They're blue
Smurfs
beings.
Smurfs are blue. That's true. The people in Avatar are blue.
They're Smurfs as well. So
yeah, a lot of people call them Smurfs. As I've got older, I become less sure of what my favourite colour is. Like when you're young, you have such a strong opinion, and then as you get older, you're like, I don't know, they're all pretty good. It's
such a question you'd ask kids, or kids would sort of like ask other kids. It's like a sort of, what's your favourite colour?
Yeah.
Mine's purple. Oh, I don't like purple. Like that kind of stuff.
There's so much stuff that you just decide when you're younger.
It's like conversation and personality 101 kind of thing.
Yeah, you're just deciding what your personality is, and you sometimes just choose really arbitrary stuff and stick to it. Yeah, but okay. God, this is very difficult, isn't it? I think it should go fairly high up, because I think the world would be pretty bad
without blue.
Less interesting without blue.
I mean, blue's good, but isn't sort of do a lot of improving on stuff, does it?
I mean, I guess. You could accuse it of being a bit superficial. It's just the way that our brains have come up with to see certain things. So
Yeah. It's like it's something that's there. I'm kind of glad it's part of the colour spectrum.
Yeah,
but,
I'd miss it if it was gone.
yeah. But again, I know at the same
But
time...
if it had never been there, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, I feel like, do you know what, if I woke up the next day, well, maybe I'm being a bit more dramatic, but if I say like I started to see the world in black and white for some reason or other, I wouldn't feel it'd be the worst thing that could ever happen.
No,
to me.
it wouldn't, but you wouldn't miss it, wouldn't you? You'd be like...
The colours? Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, it wouldn't wish it upon me or anyone else,
Yeah.
but at the same time...
You know,
suddenly-
colourblind people, they have perfectly fine lives. Not all colourblind people are just seeing the world in black and
No,
white.
they just don't see certain
Yeah,
colours, that's true.
so-
I've got a friend that's like that.
So it's not like it ruins your life.
It can actually, even certain artists are famous for, they were found to be colourblind, but they actually just like painted things in certain ways which kind of develop. Not everyone sees the world the same way, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the blue colour at hand. Nothing's bad about blue. I think it doesn't have any negatives
it
to
has
it.
the conservative connection, but there's always going to be some...
Yeah.
It's
One
not
colour.
Blue's fault. Blue didn't volunteer for that.
No. One colour had to be taken,
Yeah.
Alex, unfortunately.
True, and you know, there's always going to be bad. Like if it was red, it would be like the Republicans took red.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's probably around the kind of, maybe the new book smell kind of area.
Well, I put it higher than that, definitely.
You brought it to the table, so where would you
I'd probably put it above Mario or something.
Above Mario?
Maybe not above Mario. I like Mario, but maybe above
I mean,
headphones.
Blue is good, but like Mario's brought like generations of children joy
You're
because
right.
of this
Mario's,
Italian stereotype.
You're right, Mario's. Yeah, I was. I
You're
didn't know
caught
what I
in
was saying.
a
I
bit
was
of
caught
madness
up
for
in-
a second.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's fine.
Um.
Would you rather have blue than headphones, I think?
Yeah, oh, I don't know. I like headphones. Okay, below headphones, above having good teeth.
All right,
That's my
okay,
favourite.
okay,
That's
okay.
where I would place it.
Okay.
But since you would place it way down from there, I'm okay with moving it down.
Well, I feel like even above George Foreman Grill is a bit much. But then again, I don't know, you seem to be fighting so much for it to be have a good place of prominence. I mean, it's a lovely colour.
It seems weird. It seems mad to me to put it below the Eurovision Song Contest. Because the Eurovision Song Contest, okay, I'd rather, if I had to erase something from the world and it had to be the Eurovision Song Contest, the colour blue, I'd say, sorry Eurovision. But,
You're
like,
right.
Come on.
You've not won this year,
Yeah.
so your song wasn't as
Nil
good as
point
blue.
for you.
Nil point. Oh no.
Eurovision.
You know what, I'm thinking blue in terms of like you're taking one painting colour away from all paintings and that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. So that kind of
exactly.
feels a bit not great.
Taking what would the sky look like if it couldn't be blue?
Aye. And all these little kids out there that their favourite colour is blue. I've been
Yeah,
taking them from
yeah.
that. So I guess it could be above the Eurovision Song Contest, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go with that. Fine. Should be higher.
Maybe one day it'll be higher. I feel it's pretty good, the colour blue. It's done pretty well for itself, to be honest. I mean, it's above so many other things.
I'll go with it for now.
Look at
We'll
all
see.
the stuff below it.
Okay,
Right.
right. So that was Bring a Thing. We brought things, and those things were Furbies and the colour blue.
Yes.
And now we're going to move on to something more grown up, and that is head to head.
Woo!
Woo!
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be an interesting thing because it's just you and me.
True.
So if we're on different sides of
We might
whatever
be.
it could be,
We might be on different sides.
it could
Let's
be
see.
quite vicious.
Although, based on today, we seem to be on the same sides because the competing things, the ancient rivals that have fought for generations in an epic anime-style battle where they like fly in the air and don't actually fight for ages and just shout
Just
at each other.
yes, look at each other for episodes and
Yeah.
episodes.
The things are t-shirts and shirts.
Oh, okay.
There are a few different sort of types of shirt and everything, but I'm kind of going with the most basic sort of definition where it's like got buttons all the way down the front, like polo shirts with like just a few buttons at the top.
Don't
I'm
count.
not really counting them.
They're kind of their own little thing.
They are their own thing.
Nice shirts, but would you classify both long sleeve shirts and short sleeve
Yeah,
shirts? That's cool.
yeah. Let's go with both of them.
Yeah, both of them fall into shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I get you.
I have problems with both of them, but
Mm-hmm. Well, who would you say you're more in like team of?
I mean, in terms of what I wear every day, I definitely wear more t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
But that might just be because I'm a bit of a slob and I just like they're easier to put on,
Yeah.
easier to deal with. The main thing that I like about them opposed to shirts is they don't come open at the front. Like maybe it's just a fat person thing and most people don't have to deal with this, but the buttons like come apart a bit. They don't come open, but they leave little windows of flex flesh, which is grotesque looking
Yeah,
sometimes. Like if you sit down, you can like have windows of flesh, and then I'm like, oh no, people can see my bare skin. No. And you try and adjust yourself.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about that with t-shirts because it's just basically a tent of fabric that goes over you and covers your shameful husk of a body. I think shirts look better. Like they look nicer. They're more. If they're not coming apart to reveal your saggy flesh, then they're smarter looking. They look nicer. It looks like you've made an effort even when you haven't.
Yeah, they've got that in their corner. They just feel a bit more of an effort than you've done actions to button them up, which is more than t-shirts have done. So yeah. I mean, I would prefer shirts to t-shirts, personally speaking. There was a period in time, and I think it's still the case, where I didn't really, though saying this, I'm wearing a t-shirt right now, but I didn't really wear any t-shirts. I tried my best to more wear shirts than t-shirts, mainly because I do feel, and I think you're right, that they look a bit more kind of presentable, but not in there's shirts that aren't formal though, where you're like, you look smart, but you look kind of casually smart kind of thing. And I also feel, personally speaking for myself, that I suit shirts more than I suit t-shirts. I'm someone that's more of a sort of a slimish person. Well, it's weird because I've got like a normal kind of shoulder size, but in terms of body, like a lot of the shirts that are out there look quite baggy on me. So I always need like a slim fit or sometimes an extra slim fit kind of thing, just of how skinny I am as a sort of a stick person almost. And anyway, but I always so feel that t-shirts, they don't really come in a kind of slim fit most of the time anyway, so, or not as much as shirts do, so they always seem a bit more of a sort of, as you said, a kind of tent kind of thing for me. So just for my personal fashion wise, shirts have always sort of worked better for me than t-shirts have. I also feel that, because I just used to wear t-shirts as a kid all the time, like just would only wear t-shirts, and there's almost like that kind of thing of like you've had too much of something and now you don't want to just have it anymore. So I think I'd totally changed and just wore sort of shirts almost all the time, and just felt more kind of like, oh no, this is me making a choice now. I feel more like an adult almost. This is me in my shirt now, so I'm adult Euan. So.
I agree with all that, and this is another one of those things. I seem to use this podcast for this a lot so far, where I'm sort of trying to talk myself into being a better person, because I want to wear shirts more. I always feel better in terms of my own appearance when I'm wearing a shirt. Not that I ever think my appearance is any good, but like I feel more like I don't hate the way I look as much when I'm wearing a shirt, whereas wearing a t-shirt is like you've done the bare minimum that's socially acceptable to get by in the world. You've just dragged a piece of cloth over yourself.
You're one step above a person with a vest on, just a vest kind of thing.
It's such a rudimentary garment. It's like a sheet with a hole cut in it, 3 holes cut in it, for 4 I guess. But
I could understand, like, good on them for actually creating something so sort of like easy in a sense that everyone could put on. It's very handy. I mean, you think of like fashion all the way back in the day, with how elaborate it used to be to just like have people be able to wear stuff, and how much faff at one point. But now we're at a stage in which like we've got t-shirts and shirts and jeans and all.
It's bad, but on my lazier days, which are most days, I sort of think we've got fashion. or we've kind of got clothes worked out. We've got t-shirts and jeans. That's what you need. Like, why would you wear anything else? It's so easy compared to everything else. Like, any time that I have to wear something that isn't those things, I'm like, this is so much effort. I mean, it's probably not that much effort, but even putting a shirt on, wearing a kilt is insane. Wearing, like, a fancy jacket or something is just, like, so uncomfortable, usually.
Yeah, fancy jackets can be difficult, especially if, like, they don't fit right, which the more expensive ones are the ones that fit right, unfortunately. Well, cheaper fancy jackets, they never really sit right with you, or if you're ever sitting down with them, they kind of go in a weird angle and that kind of stuff. Though I think shirts are a good thing. Shirt isn't too difficult. They're not too bad.
I always get sweaty in them as well, maybe because of the long sleeves. Most of them have long sleeves, but I should wear shirts more. Yeah,
certainly nothing would be wrong with that. I mean, there is some good things about t-shirts. I think there's a lot of like pop culture references or jokes are sort of putting on t-shirts and that kind of stuff.
I never actually get t-shirts with stuff on them though, because I don't like expressing my personality in public in case people find it objectionable or something.
So no, that's fair.
I just always wear black ones.
This is a good safe way of doing this. Keep your personality to yourself, kind of thing, if you want to. I mean, it's your business to sort of show who you want to, that kind of thing.
I guess.
I'm kind of jealous of the people that do, talking about jealousy, which you talked about a couple of episodes ago, kind of thing. That's one of my sort of more instantaneous jealous moments, is that people who can wear sort of stuff that has like a very cool, say, Game of Thrones kind of picture on it, or that kind of stuff, but it never looks good on me, kind of thing. I'm like, there's a whole kind of side bit that like H&M, when they were still around, really, they're not really there anymore, used to sort of have like a section which was like pop culture geeks kind of clothing, you like your Breaking Bad stuff and all that kind of thing, and all look kind of like, it's kind of cool, and you're kind of like showing your loyalties to your favourite thing or something like that, in a sense. You're wearing your house's colours or something like that kind of thing. It never looked good on me whatsoever, and some people can pull it off quite well. Gavin can sometimes pull it off very well.
He can, and you know, I get paranoid about when I wear something new. I always think people can tell this is new and it's the first time I'm wearing it. You almost have to like break it in. Like, I feel self-conscious the first time, even if it's like a perfectly innocuous shirt or something with nothing on it.
I've got the opposite thing. It's like, when it's something new, I kind of like want someone to notice it. It's like, is that new? It's like, yes it is actually.
Well, it's a difference.
Glad you noticed. Yeah. But yeah, I think we were straight a little bit. So.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you that shirts are probably better objectively. Just they look nicer.
Alright. Saying that though, something that some shirts do that t-shirts don't do is when you've had to actually wear like a proper business shirt with like a tie or something, you had to like
horrible. I hate them.
Have it like closed collar, and you get like that sort of collar rash where it was rubbing against your skin the whole time. It's a really irritating.
I haven't really been thinking about the smart kind of shirts that you actually have to tuck in as well, 'cause I never tuck in shirts when I wear them casually. I find it really uncomfortable tucking in shirts and buttoning them all the way up.
All the way up, yeah.
It feels like almost
choking.
One of those things that back in the day was like a test of your mettle, that you have to wear this thing all day, and that shows that you're a man.
Yeah.
'Cause you have to suffer by like being confined in this thing that's uncomfortable to wear.
A little bit. It also just feels that kind
Men have it so hard.
the suffering. But it also just feels like sort of, I don't know, like the fact that like in a formal setting or a business setting, having shirts that are a bit buttoned all the way to the top, it's just, no one likes it.
Yeah.
I don't know why people would actually care too much if like one button's undone.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like, we perceive it as smarter, or like more kind of like business like, so it's the thing you have to do kind of thing.
I wonder if it is about like showing you're willing to suffer in order to impress someone in some weird unconscious way.
I don't know.
Maybe not. I'm reading too much into that.
It feels there's something going on there, but that's the one thing about shirts. The t-shirts I've never had ever, that kind of thing, where that kind of that collar rash that it gives you, where it just like, maybe again I might be more susceptible than some to it, that it just like it just rubs you and it's constant irritation. You sort of take off at the end of the day and it's there and it's like kind of thing.
Yeah, t-shirts are just there to be comfortable.
Yeah.
If they're big enough, they're just like, this feels like a second skin. It's like,
T-shirts are always quite comfy, though again you have to get the size right for it. I mean, that goes with all clothing though. If you get the size wrong, that's kind of your fault in a sense. But I'm thankfully in the good situation right now where I don't have to wear formal shirts every day or that, and if I did have to put a shirt on, which I do, it's a kind of more smart casual, kind of comfortable shirt, which there are those out there, definitely.
Yeah.
Cloth shirts.
I think they're kind of close together, probably, these two things.
Yeah, they're quite close together, I'd
Maybe
say.
shirts have the edge.
Yeah, they're not totally better, but they've got overall a few nice points in their direction.
Yeah, and I don't like the having to wear the smart ones and tuck them in and do them up all nice and have the tie and everything. That's horrible, but in terms of just like casually wearing them, ones that are comfortable, they're probably better.
So where shall they go?
Okay, well, we don't have any clothing on the list unless you count slippers. I think they should be higher than slippers, because slippers are sort of optional, whereas shirts, you kind of need shirts or t-shirts.
You do need either one or two
so.
in this day and age now.
Yeah.
Maybe around where Coca-Cola is?
Yeah, I could get behind that, maybe.
Yeah, as good as they are kind of thing, I don't feel too invested in them. Like, they're a good thing to have.
And shirted in them.
I mean, if you say...
Sorry, go on.
If you were to say like clothing, I mean, clothing is important to us. Like, if you took clothing away from all of us tomorrow or that, it'd be very inconvenient.
Yeah.
Especially in the colder regions of the world. So.
Yes.
But shirts and t-shirts, They're alright. Sort of around where coffee pods and Coca-Cola
Maybe,
are.
yeah.
Kind of thing.
Maybe shirts could go above coffee pods and t-shirts could go... I don't know, I'm just making stuff up.
No, I think you're onto something.
Very
Actually.
kind of nitpicky now.
I think you're kind of actually on the ball with that. I think shirts between above coffee pods just now and t-shirts below it. Maybe a little bit of separation from the two clothing items, but
yeah.
It's funny. It just feels like Coca-Cola and t-shirts are that same kind of relaxed or happy weekend kind of
Coca-Cola
stuff.
and t-shirts is like 90s.
Yeah, it is maybe above Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola do rot your teeth.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
Coca-Cola
T-shirts don't.
Yeah, they don't do anything to harm us.
No, I like t-shirts. I do have an affection for them because they serve their purpose day in, day out. I wear them pretty much every day and I never say thank you to them. So this is me saying thank you, t-shirts.
Thank you, t-shirts.
You can go above Coca-Cola.
Yay.
So that was head-to-head.
Head-to-head.
It's an exciting one, a close run thing.
Aye.
The shirts just took it at the last
They
minute
did.
there.
Oh, well.
And now we move on to the final main section of the day, which is the thing about that.
Oh, I think about that.
So what is that, you ask? Well, because this episode is going up on the day of the UK general election, the snap election, the sudden going back on what she'd said before, Theresa May thing that happened suddenly, we thought we'd talk about politics.
Topical.
Now, some people will object to us talking. If you don't want to hear about us talking politics, you can stop listening. But I think politics are tied up in everything else so much you can't really just avoid talking about them.
Not now. Not
understand.
this
Yeah, I don't really understand the whole politics are separate from everything else. You should never talk about them because they do have an impact on everything else. Like if you vote a certain way, it does say something about who you are as a person, as much as you might say no, it doesn't. I mean, it's anonymous. You don't have to tell people who you voted for, but it is a moral choice that you're making. It has effects on people's lives, so, you know. Anyway, I'm just ranting at you now, sorry.
No, I mean, I think you're kind of right to a certain extent that politics is something that should be talked about, and I feel like if anyone was to ask you who you voted for, or who you believe in, sort of politically speaking, you should at least be able to give a good reason why.
Yeah. Some people just seem to think of it more like supporting a sports team.
Yeah,
exactly.
I hate that kind
and
of...
it's as if the policies don't matter and what they actually stand for doesn't matter, and it's all about personalities or their brand or what they've been...
Which you feel like if you're, the whole sort of, it's a team or something, we'll support our team and we'll always yell at the other team if they do something wrong, but if our team did something wrong, it's fine, don't worry about it. When I feel like it shouldn't be that way. It should be, because we're all in this together at the end of the day when it comes to politics, and we're all sort of connected about this kind of whole social experiment that is kind of society. And the fact is that if your political party is doing something that is detrimental to us all, you should call it out just as much as we're calling it out. And we should all kind of be of some agreement where if your guy is talking down climate change, at least if you're person that believes in facts and believes in what people are sort of saying and are kind of reasonably showing to be true, you should also be saying no, that's important as a universal kind of thing.
Yes, I agree. Anyway, that was just a little preamble to
little
actual things that we're bringing.
Yeah.
So if you didn't like that, maybe you won't like what we say now.
Or maybe you will.
Maybe you will. Do you want to go first or why?
You can go first this
Okay,
time.
cool. So my thing is potentially controversial, I guess, but I've given a warning, so who cares? Let's just go ahead with it. My thing is the liberal social media bubble.
Ah, yes.
The thing that some of us live in, including myself, I'm pretty sure I would fall into that category of living in a bubble which is sort of like an echo chamber where people mostly agree with me. I'm not necessarily exposed to opinions that differ from my own that much, at least not in fundamental things. Anyway, there's certainly arguments that happen, but in general I cherry pick who I follow on Twitter or who I'm friends with on Facebook. It's not like I've unfriended a bunch of people who disagree with me politically or anything, but just in terms of who I meet in everyday life, I probably tend to meet people who are statistically likely to share some of my core beliefs. So I end up in a sort of padded cell of people telling me that I'm right about the things that I believe, and maybe my opinion is not being challenged, and maybe if I really expose myself to the other side, I would see all the valid points that they're making, and that's all a bad thing. But then also when I step outside for a minute of my social media bubble and try and go, I'm going to expose myself to the very thoughtful arguments of the other side and what they're saying, quite a lot of the time I'm like, oh God, I just want to go back to my bubble right now. It's there is some degree to which, and maybe it's just because I have been in this bubble so long that I find certain opinions very unsettling, but like, there are certain opinions that I don't really feel the need to expose myself to.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not all opinions that disagree with me. Like, there are plenty of things that I disagree with people on that I think, you know, there are valid ways of looking at things, certain
Totally.
problems. Like, if we're trying to solve a problem, like, how do we make society fair for everyone and give everyone equal opportunities and everything like that? There are definitely different ways to approach that. Personally, where I am right now, I don't feel like I need to hear the arguments for why we shouldn't be doing that. Like, why some people are inferior to others and don't deserve the same chances or whatever like that. I've heard enough of those arguments to go like, ugh, I disagree with you and I don't think you're going to change my mind. So in some ways being in a social media bubble can sort of preserve your sanity, but also it maybe does limit your perspective on things. I don't know. It's a very tricky, multifaceted subject.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In fact, yeah, to a certain extent, these days we're all sort of stuck in a certain type of bubble because of how, like, say, social media works. We're all kind of sent things that more agree with us instead of having more of a sort of broader perspectives on opinions. To the point in which I feel like some parts of society are kind of like totally tripped up when something, politically speaking, happens that we don't agree with and we think is the narrative how the country works, but actually, no, there is a massive group of people that don't think that way or that. So I think that's part of maybe the dangers of bubbles, in a sense.
Well, yeah, it's scary when you're like, oh, there's no way this party can win because no one that I know is voting for them. Everyone online that I follow is going, they're terrible. How can anyone vote for them? And then they win, like, comfortably.
Yeah.
And who knows if that's going to happen today. Probably is.
Most likely is, but we're not looking shocked about that though, if that's the case.
No.
Yeah, but I know what you mean about it. I feel that I also like live in a kind of, my leanings are sort of more left, more liberal, though I probably would say I kind of fit into a sort of centre leftist kind of area kind of thing. I'm comfortable with that. I can understand when I first was younger, I totally was like sort of definitely left, and it sort of made sense to me, sort of that kind of thinking. Now that I've sort of grown a bit more, I can understand people on the right, sort of, at least in a more sort of centre right area, I can understand some of the points they make. It's interesting because it's like people are talking about sort of, can we get sane Republicans back or something, that kind of thing, which you kind of, I wish for people that are in the right, they're more kind of, they're more for business or for sort of.
But like they kind of used to be sane. Like,
They used to be.
arguably they were the more sane party back in the olden days.
Oh, at one point they were actually more leftist than the Democrats. Unfortunately, then some
I don't know what
very
happened there.
right-wing Democrats went to the Republicans, and it was a big sort of shift on that way. We're talking about American politics here, which is
which we're not necessarily experts on, but
No.
we hear a lot about it over here as well, and follow it as you would a sort of soap opera or something.
Yeah, it's definitely now is. Yeah, I've also I listen to a few political podcasts, and
Yeah,
I
I do
listen to
sometimes.
one that is quite good in terms of it gets people from all different parts of the spectrum on to a certain extent that actually have a credible thing to say and will kind of put their point across. What's interesting, one of the guys that sort of runs it, I like particularly just his personality wise, but he's more right wing than I am, but he's kind of taught me around to at least understanding why he has these particular kind of concepts. So I feel like I do understand. There are people that if they won, I would definitely want a more left-wing person winning, but if they won, I wouldn't mind as much. It's like, okay, well, I still feel like we'd be in a good hands, or that it wouldn't be the society's falling apart. But the fact is that it now feels more like we're not having that kind of thing. We're having more kind of extreme. I think after a certain period of having quite more centrist kind of stuff happening, we're now going much more to
Does seem that way.
polarizing.
Although, and this is maybe just getting into my own like personal opinion and not really what we're talking about, but like what people claim is extreme left to me, and this is probably just because I'm on the extreme end. I seem to be, at least from the way that people measure left, where I seem to be fairly extreme left, but that's partly because I'm just like, I look at extreme right and I go, get me as far away from that as possible.
yes.
So a lot of it seems kind of reasonable and not that extreme to me. Like, and a lot of policies of what people see as very left wing are very popular and supported by a lot of people. So yeah, I don't know. The window is always shifting.
I always feel when it comes to left-wing policy in terms of like social apparatus, such as the government being in charge of certain social aspects such as health or energy or that kind of stuff, it makes a lot of sense to me because we're all kind of involved in that kind of thing. We all need that kind of thing. And I feel like the people that are portraying that as bad are people that are very wealthy and in charge of media organisations, which of course they would be losing money out of those kind of things, so they would portray them as bad. Unfortunately, they've got a much bigger mouthpiece than we do, unfortunately. And I think other people maybe are slightly brainwashed towards thinking that it's bad because of these big media people.
Yes.
Anyway,
or are we being brainwashed? By the liberal social media bubble?
I do feel, though, that saying that the liberal media bubble, and I'm being a left person myself, I do sometimes find that on my own side there are some things that have been said that I do find a little bit obnoxious.
Oh god, I forgot about this whole side of it, but there is just like so much stuff on the left that annoys the hell out of me. And not the fact that it's left, but the fact, to me, it's not what it's supposed to be about. Like, people on the left being like, just in the same way that people on the right do, like victimising people and like, criticising people's appearances and all that stuff, and all the stuff that we claim not to do and still do. And like I probably get annoyed, statistically more annoyed by my side than the other side, but that again is because I see more of it. Like, so there are times when I'm like, maybe I'm not actually on this side, and then it takes getting a glimpse of the other side to go, okay, I'm not on this side either, right? So I'm gonna be on this side, but I'm gonna be annoyed with people on this side as well, and be like, we can do better than this.
Well, that's it. I mean, because there's a thing that I feel, and I think both sides almost have it in their own specific way, but and sadly there is two sides really, when there should be more of a spectrum of that kind of thing. Definitely. There's a bit of thinking of like, so this is the way it is, and if you think of it in any other way, you're being offensive and you're ruining it for everyone else. Right? That's me being very broad and bland, but that's kind of what's happening, if that makes any sense to you. Yeah. And I just feel like you can't really police people's opinions.
Yeah, there's an orthodoxy that's developed where everyone's expected to share certain... I mean, there are certain core beliefs that are sort of inherent to one side or the other, you would think, but like there's a lot of other stuff that is like, this is what you have to believe. It's almost like they've come up with a religion, like a bible of what people have to think, or they get like sort of attacked by people on their own side for disagreeing on certain...
They make a mistake, basically, and suddenly they're hounded by them.
And you know, there's a lot of infighting,
which I always feel is such like a waste of energy. It's like, why are you trying to fight with this specific little subgroup in your own group when you're trying our goal should actually be fixing...
Yeah, and I get why infighting happens, because as you said, you have to call out people on your own side when you think they're doing something bad, or otherwise like you'll end up being a hypocrite. God, this discussion got very deep.
It's a big topic, really.
Yeah, it is. Maybe we should get back to where we place
we could probably talk about it all day long, I think.
I can see both sides of it. I think in general it makes me comfortable, it makes me more comfortable in my life, but it's probably unhealthy in many ways.
I think in moderation is fine.
Yeah, in terms of like, if you want to just go about your life and not think about the philosophical side of politics, and you know, because you're not always in the mood to like have your opinions or your core beliefs like attacked aggressively with alternative views, that some of which you find like offensive or just wrong. Like sometimes you just want to bumble along and make a silly joke about how Donald Trump's a bit of a prat.
Oh, you said his name. It's the first time I said his name.
Oh no, he's gonna find us now.
He's got our power. He's more powerful now because of it.
Anyway, yeah, so there's a place for it, but it's probably worth poking your head out of it sometimes.
Yeah, I think so.
And possibly more often. If I was a stronger person, I would try to live outside mine more.
I feel like you don't have to entertain hearing all the sides, because there's parts of both sides extreme that are just like idiotic beliefs that like you shouldn't have the time of day for that if you don't want to.
Well, yeah, there are certain beliefs that I just think I don't need to hear that.
Yeah,
like I know what I think about that. I'm fairly comfortable that I don't think these racist things, so I don't need to try and, let's not judge this person for a minute. Let's just sit down and hear what they have to say, and they're just like,
say something terrible straight out of the bat. Yeah.
Don't even want to say the...
But, like, if you do see something that has happened where, like, quite a big group of people have done something, you do at least want to have one of the representatives explain it in a more articulate way, which I've found for certain recent sort of social things that's happened, and that someone from a particular community has come with an article that has put their side of the story in a way in which, like, okay, I can see what's happening there, that why a certain subgroup of people in that group have been that way because of how they're suffering in a certain way.
But it's weird that they almost have to like send a sort of messenger across the boundary to like explain it in our language, as opposed to we're all just talking all the time and understanding each other. There's sort of such a divide that it's necessary to have these special missions to like we've got to make them understand our point of view or whatever.
It was actually a journalist who came from a very small town that sort of was writing about sort of his experience beforehand and sort of him kind of putting a balanced view on it all, and it was a very effective article of doing it.
Yeah, it's definitely good to get thoughtful perspectives on things that you might otherwise dismiss as
trivial or like something worse than it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, you can think that people are voting for a certain thing for a very bad reason when in fact some of them are voting for that bad reason, but also there's a large number of them who are voting for it for another reason which you might not agree with but is more understandable and less shocking and disturbing.
It's not like suddenly like a part of the country's gone evil kind of thing. There is like people who's got their own lives and their own problems that they're trying to
you kind of have to, like, to a large extent, put aside your notion of evil and be like, people aren't really evil. There may be a few people who are
evil, but
I don't even know if I'd call them evil. They're very misguided and
selfish,
are selfish, or have a very twisted way of viewing the world, which just isn't compatible with mine. But most people are want to do what's best, and may have very different ideas about what that is. Anyway. Liberal social media bubble.
Yeah.
In the sense that it symbolises the divide between people, I kind of want to put it quite low, even though it makes me comfortable in my day-to-day life.
Quite comfortable. Should be in your t-shirts then.
Yeah, but it does more harm than t-shirts, though.
Maybe.
I think it does. I think it should go, like, down...
Below spiders?
Probably below spiders.
It feels like it's in the trashy TV area then, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
Sort of in that case.
I might put it lower, but yeah, if you're okay with it around there, then...
Next to country music, they'll love that. So. Just for that evil irony.
Okay, yeah.
That sounds about right.
Oh, God. Putting it above or below country music. Oh, it's almost like making a statement now.
I feel... country music, at the end of the day, you are creating music still, so there's a skill in that.
Yeah.
Well,
you're right.
Bubbles, just people speaking their
We'll
minds.
give you this one, country music. This is the sort of accepting people we are. We are willing to put country music over our cozy little world.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. There we go. Wow, that was an intense discussion.
Yeah,
is it going to get more intense, or are we going
to... maybe not. Probably not.
Okay.
So I'm going to be a bit more uplifting, I guess.
Oh, good, good.
So I'm bringing to the political discussion the Monster Raving Loony Party.
Oh.
Woo! Yes.
Yeah.
Now, some of our listeners are out of the UK, even some of our listeners in the UK might not have heard of them, but you've heard of them.
Yes, I've heard of them. I don't know that much about them, but I know the basic gist of them, I think.
Yeah, I think I usually know the gist as well, kind of thing. But basically what they are, the Monster Raving Loony Party, are kind of like a joke party in essence. They're kind of these people who dress up very kind of ridiculously in sort of either costumes, or some of them were quite British actually. They wear Union Jack stuff and they wear like giant hats or that kind of stuff. And their candidates always have ridiculous names. Like one of the famous ones, which I think was their party leader, was Screaming Lord Such. Which is an awesome name. Their names are pretty awesome actually as well. There's Mad Mid Meg or something like that kind of thing. And they'll come every election cycle and they'll have quite a sort of bizarre manifesto. Like I think this year's one, they want to have schools having a fete or fair every month to raise money for chairs and desks and all that kind of stuff. And they want to put, they said that Labour is putting a lock on pensions, so they want to do one more and actually give every pensioner a padlock, which is also just like, it's poking fun at sort of the political system in a sense, and actually running as a party. And I mean, their whole concept of being is to actually be an alternative to a protest vote, which I kind of like. And it's actually, if you look at them, they're very quite like nice people. They're not like have any sort of harsh or sort of rude or cruel kind of political beliefs, which is kind of rare for a political party to have as a whole. I think it's more nicer than if I was to come up with like a concept for a political party, which would be a protest vote party, which would probably be like the party that's for saying that all politicians are rubbish and we were wanting to win because the rest of you are incompetent at your jobs, that kind of thing. It's a much nicer
more
way
subtle,
much subtle
disdain.
And they also run mainly in safe seats. Like seats that the party will have. That's just why if you ever tune into if the Prime Minister's seat for whatever one they're running for, it's generally speaking a very safe seat. They're not going to be risking their constituency at all. Or the leader of the opposition as well is most likely to have that. So they'll run in there also, just as people that know that they won't be able to win the vote. They can vote for this one to say, well, I'm going to vote for the Mad Raving Loony Party.
They don't necessarily want to destroy democracy by taking votes away and like swing the election.
No, they don't really go to swing vote constituencies.
I'm guessing they don't. I'm not sure.
It's
but like
on their website. That's what they say anyway. So they're a charming kind of evolution of like the protest votes or...
Yeah, and you know, it makes election nights a bit more fun, because occasionally on election nights you're just like, I always stay up for them. I don't know why. I actually hate it, but I can't stop myself. I couldn't sleep probably knowing that one was going on. But like, it's just a lot of David Dimbleby sitting there going, oh, if you're watching the BBC, going like, and we're now going to cross to the count in
Durham.
Yeah, little
winging.
There's just lots of really boring results being read out by people, and it's like, the Liberal Democrat candidate gets 4,322. And then occasionally someone gets a whoop if they're like a popular candidate who hasn't done that well. They still get a bit of show support.
Or if their party's thing.
If the Monster Raving Loonies are standing, there's just someone dressed really weirdly there. Like undermining the whole thing.
Yeah,
with a weird name that has to get read out in a serious voice. So it's just a sort of little element of entertainment.
It is.
It's an oasis in the
they'll give a cheer as well.
desert of election nights.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. I can see why some people would just be sick of them and be like, oh, for God's sake. But like... I'm sort of all for just undermining the seriousness a little bit, just because...
That's the thing. Or even just like, they're a satirist party in a sense. They're satirising politics to a certain extent, which I think satire is required. It's almost a balm in a certain way to some of the harshness of politics can be. And they themselves, I know they probably don't want to actually win as a party and be in charge of the UK.
I'm guessing they would be a bit surprised and not necessarily know what to do. I mean, they don't run enough seats to take charge of the UK, but like, I don't think they've ever won a single seat.
No.
They usually don't come close. They usually get like a few hundred votes, I think, probably.
They do. I think they have a good number of votes for themselves. They're happy with whatever they get.
Yeah, but like, they have to like pay to enter an election like that, I think. So
yeah, and a lot of paperwork.
It does involve quite... I admire their commitment to, if it is just like a joke more than anything else. I mean, it sort of is making a point, but like they are putting resources into it.
They're writing a manifesto.
Yeah,
they're doing all kind of stuff for it. So they are like going all the steps that you'd require to do for that kind of thing. And again, like whenever I've looked into any of the individuals, they all seem quite nice, lovely people kind of thing. They don't seem to have they're the kind of people that, you know, because they're doing silly things out and about kind of thing, or taking the piss out of themselves a little bit, that you sort of feel like, oh yeah, you'll be a reasonable person deep down. If that makes any sense.
You would hope so. Yeah.
Well, more politicians, you feel like, oh, they're smiling and they've got that kind of like Stepford Wives kind of perfect family going on. There's something fucked up down there, so which has been discovered in the past for some of them. They don't feel like money. There's a power grabbing sort of individuals, which a few politicians can appear to be. I feel like in other aspects, you'd be like, oh, you're just making the situation ridiculous when we should actually be taking this seriously and that kind of thing.
But they don't. It's not like they show up to like Remembrance Day or whatever dressed in ridiculous clothing.
Totally not. And
so it's all like, I mean, I've only really ever seen them in the context of on polling day when the results are being read out. They're standing there looking silly, which I have no problem with.
No.
Yeah. So it's not like they're being offensive by doing it.
Yeah. I feel it's kind of that thing where what was it? It was like a thing back in the day in which, like, on Boxing Day, the master sort of serves as servants kind of thing, where it grounds the other politicians, or at least the main ones, because I literally remember last election where David Cameron's seat was being shown, or that kind of thing, and he was right next to one of the Monster Raving Loony party, and they were just like, I think he even got like a few thousand votes that guy. It was a massive constituency. So putting David Cameron, the Prime Minister at the time, next to this like guy who looks a bit sort of kooky and crazy, it makes you sort of
remember that as much as you might have this image of them as like evil scheming, and some of them probably are, but like
like just, super slick kind of.
They are all human beings, and they're probably going like, oh, for fuck's sake. When they're standing next to them, you sort of imagine that going on in their heads, and that sort of humanises them in a nice little way.
Exactly, and I'm glad that they're there. I'm glad that kind of thing does exist. It's a bit nicer. It's a bit sort of it makes it more palatable. It's
I agree.
So that's why I brought them here to this political.
Yes, thank you for
discussion.
That. It's a bit less of a intense discussion than the last one, which is nice. Yes, it's very difficult. Where do you put the Monster Raving Loony party?
I put them around Eurovision because I feel like that's the same kind of. Well, maybe. Yeah, but again, no, because they'll come around every 4 years, while the Eurovision's every once a year.
Eurovision, and to be fair to Eurovision, they do more. They put on a bigger show.
Yeah.
Monster Raving Loonies kind of just stand there and look silly. I mean, a lot of Eurovision is standing and looking silly as well, to be fair.
Okay, maybe not as high as yours, or maybe I was a bit... I guess because I felt I was in the same sort of silly category, but maybe not as high as there. Where is it? So...
Another monster on the list is the Loch Ness Monster.
That's true.
Do they go above or below the Loch Ness Monster?
I think Nessie, if she could, she'd probably join them. So
Yeah,
that'd be her party of choice.
We can only speculate, but yeah, I don't think so.
They probably have good policies for her anyway. So
Or she might be like, I'm a very sensible monster, actually.
maybe having them next to
Stereotype.
the concept of reality also makes it quite fun as well.
That's true. Are they above the concept of reality?
I think they're good for a political system to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Even if it's just for one night of the year, of the 4 years of the thing. Maybe they're not as good as that, again, because they don't only show up for like one thing. They're not there at politics the whole time around. They're not like some satirists or comedians, which will always be there to sort of like poke fun at the kind of the bad politicians.
I haven't really thought about them for a long time, so maybe that shows that they're not massively...
Yeah, maybe just below reality then.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Above mobile card readers, that seems okay. Yay!
They're the first party on the list as well,
They
so
are,
that's so
yeah,
good.
and the most important.
Congratulations.
Woo!
Woo!
Okay, so that was politics. I think we've covered it.
I think that we've covered all the politics, we've fixed it all
We
as
have.
well.
That was some in-depth political discourse there. So I hope you're having, if you're listening on election day, I hope you're having a good election day. Hope the country as a whole is having a good election day.
Yeah.
Even though statistically it looks like it might not. Anyway, maybe you're really into the party that's inevitably going to win. And if you are, then okay.
Well, good for you.
Okay.
And, and I mean,
I'll just look at you weirdly and slowly edge away, but okay, if you want.
At the end of the day, though, I mean, at least the system is working to a certain extent, and we're able to vote in this country.
We'll see how that goes.
And also, it's politics is important, but it's not the only thing in your lives. And
True. Go outside, look at the sky, and admire the colour blue.
Exactly.
Dig out your old Furby, have a conversation
with
with
your
it.
Furby.
If his battery hasn't died, and it's not speaking in a horrifying slow voice. Wear a t-shirt or a shirt, whichever you prefer.
Wear a t-shirt and a shirt. There's like
I do that sometimes.
Yeah,
I put a t-shirt on and a shirt over it.
Yeah.
That, in some ways, that is the ideal thing because you can get the window of flesh, but you get too hot.
That is the ideal thing. That was the solution.
Maybe that is the solution. That's something.
See, it's not separating; it's bringing things together.
And I just realised we've been doing this nice wrapping up chat, and we haven't done nudges and grudges yet. So let's do that.
All right,
nudges and
grudges.
we'll go immediately after.
Okay.
That. What do you want to nudge or grudge?
I'm still fine from last time.
Really?
I think so.
It's weird. You seem to have strong opinions, but then you don't want to tinker with the list.
I like placing things in there, but I feel like once kind of people put things in there, like it has to be a really important thing for me to actually want to like shift it. And even then, it's still shifting only one place down is the thing.
I know.
It still feels like it's not going to get like
do something about
if it's something that I feel much about, I try and be there on the time to actually like argue that no, it should be a lot lower on the list than that. It shouldn't be that high up, or it shouldn't be that low. It's much better than that. But once it's in there, you can't really. If it's pretty low, you're like, oh, I can only drag you up so far.
It's a bit of a defeatist attitude.
That's true, Alex. That's true. So you fight on for me.
I think you're going to disagree with what I do, unfortunately. Which
Alright, what is it?
I'm probably going to move Sonic the Hedgehog up above the liberal social media bubble.
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
I like that. Sonic's great.
I like Sonic.
There's cool stuff about Sonic.
Did you want to say anything about Sonic? Because you had something.
Oh no, I think you covered it pretty much, and I think me bringing it up straight out of context out of nowhere would be a bit too much. So. But one day we'll talk.
Do you have a secret double life?
I don't have a secret double life. I'm not a massive Sonic fan. I've found them all quite difficult games to play actually compared to Mario. I'm much more of a Mario person, but I still think Sonic's cool, and I'll support any video game franchise or thing that's good.
Yeah.
I feel like support the games.
Yeah.
All right. So,
okay, that was our episode. So, okay, children, that's all for today.
Story time's over.
See if you can count more things that are the color blue. And we'll see you next time on Everything versus Everything. Episode 9, I think. What's the number that comes after 8, boys and girls? Yes, that's right, it's 9, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Everything vs. Everything. Today's panelists were Euan Gilmore and me, Alex Perry. Visit our website at everythingveverything.wordpress.com, subscribe to our RSS feed, review us on iTunes and all that good stuff. You can also check out my other silly podcast, Rainy Day Adventure Club, at rainydayadventureclub.wordpress.com. Thanks for listening, see you next week.